Biyani, Dr. Loda, Dr. Soni, and distinguished guests from Vidya, Bhawan, from Agra, and different places, and the staff of Biyani College and the students. I remember a seminar organized 3-4 years back at Alwar. I was one of the chief speakers. But ceremonies started at 9 o'clock and my turn came at 4 o'clock. Thank you, sir. Today I got a chance at 1:45. Thank you. I got a message on my phone in the US. Now, what the teachers do there for the quality of education. We are all concerned about the quality, but how that quality is to be developed, not by all the data, what has been done and what people are doing, but by actual participation of the teachers and the students. I'll give you some examples for that. Now, how the participation should go on. The message which came on my phone was like this. What the teachers do in US during vacant periods, they meet the students who need their help and help to remove their difficulties. They also devote plenty of time during Saturdays and Sundays. Now, considering the difficulties of the teachers, the students and teachers are involved in removing those difficulties. They are helping to develop the quality of education. It is a practical work. It is not just, we are talking of the quality. Quality should be improved. How will it be improved? Unless we are involved. The teachers and the students are together and teachers try to help them. Out of the various topics, I have taken one topic about, it is about the training initiatives in enhancing quality of education. First of all, I tried to find out the meaning of initiative. It's a very difficult term actually. The simple meaning of initiative which I found out in dictionary was that to resolve on something and to take action. Now, resolve on what? Resolve on those areas which will help the students to grow and to develop the quality. I consider there are two areas. One, the personal quality, the values that a teacher should possess, and then professional skills. Now, these are two different things, but they are interwoven, they're together. How these qualities are to be developed. Dr. Dharpal is there? Okay. So, to help develop these qualities, teachers have to do something. And what is that something which is to be done by the teacher? If these two areas are to be developed, the teachers has to do something. Now, the same thing about just one term, punctuality. Now, punctuality means coming on time. Coming on time to the class. But when a teacher comes on time to the class, it influences the students and attracts their attention. The teacher is very punctual. He gets respect. The students are also very eager to learn. But somebody who comes late, is not respected. So these small qualities are the actual behavior of the teacher which he has to display in the class before the students. The institution has to develop an environment, and without developing a proper environment, nothing can be done. So, considering all that, I have divided my talk into two areas, one personal and another professional qualities. But before that, I wish to come. Somebody pushing it around. What is the use of that? I would not do it. You have to help me. Please. Give it here. Now, what is the current scenario actually? In the last 15 years, I must have visited more than 150 teachers' colleges. And to my dismay, I found that out of 150, at least 130 teachers' colleges did not possess the right kind of norms given by NCT. There were no building, there were no staff, no library, no play fields. In some of these inspections, Dr. Soni was also with me. We totally rejected those colleges. But unfortunately, after some time, those colleges were reopened. There were three factors of opening the colleges. One, the corrupt inspectors who accept money and just pass those colleges. Two, the court orders. Court doesn't know anything about it. You must have seen how the eyes of the lady who is shown in the court is blindfolded. Only arguments go on in the court and orders are passed on the basis of the arguments. And third, NCTE, who and the staff there are not aware how much harm they are doing to the country by reopening the colleges which doesn't possess all the infrastructure. In that respect, your college, Mr. Chairman, stands amongst all the 10% colleges. The building is good. About 70% staff is in my touch because they are writing some books with my assistance or with my company. And I really find them very alert. They are really good, and you students, you are lucky to have such teachers. Because when I visit the colleges, I also meet the staff. The assignment of writing the books was given to 20 people. Out of 20, 5 or 6, they ran away. And then from this college, a maximum number of staff is writing those books. I have seen that work. It is really good work. I'm so happy to say that you are in good hands. Long back, there used to be only 5 teachers' colleges. When I passed in 1955-56, only 5 teachers' colleges in Rajasthan. Today there are 800 teachers' colleges. And the quality of all those 800, leaving only 10%, is terribly poor. Now, who is responsible for all that? Now, we cannot amend everything, but let us amend ourselves. So, if we as teachers, whosoever he or she is here, try hard to help the students to grow, I think our work is done. In that respect, I simply consider two areas, as I've already said. That is the personal qualities, and other one is the professional qualities. I'm not talking of those fundamental values in philosophy, truth, beauty, and truth, beauty, and what more. But and goodness. And I'm talking of something else, which is related to the personal values. I'm giving, after a lot of thinking, 5 different values. One is possess sense of love. Now, it looks like that we talk it over every time. Will you please sit down at this table? Please sit down. I remember long back when Acharya Rajneesh visited Udaipur. My friend Dr. Soni insisted that I should go and see him. And not believing in Guruites, I said I would not go. But ultimately, he won over me and he took me to Acharya Rajneesh. I don't know whether all of you have heard the name of Rajneesh, but he lived only up to 52 years, but his literature is in plenty and advices and excellent literature. So when Dr. Soni took me to see him, he was sitting in a room. When I entered, he said, "Please come." The way he invited me to get into his room, I was infatuated. I actually ran towards him. That was the way of talking to him. So when you talk to your students, talk in such way that you cultivate love. Now when you cultivate love, it generates courage. They become encouraged to talk to you. If you threaten them, if you make them fear, they will not talk. So cultivating love is one of the foremost quality, personal quality, which a teacher can do that. I have seen in other countries wherever I got a chance to work. Now because I was a foreigner and I had to talk to them, I must display discipline plus respect towards them plus love towards them. If I don't do it, these things look very small, but they are very great. Now think about a situation where your parent is very autocratic and the parent is very loving. The build-up of the children will be quite different. Those who are thrashed by the parent, they will be scared, would not ask any questions. But those who are shown love towards them, they can talk. They can express themselves. So a teacher has to be loving to cultivate that love feeling in them. It will help them to ask their difficulties and to grow. That is the way for the quality, not that I present a big data, there so much education, here so less education. Do it and you will find the results are good. The second personal quality which I consider is responsibility. Now you have to assign work, give things to read and ask them whether they have read or not. Now if they read it, they will feel responsible to them. These things look very small, but they have far-reaching effect. Now we all don't do it. We don't try to make them responsible for the things. Then sense of beautifulness. How the sense of beautifulness will come to them? When teacher himself is duty bound, he can create the sense in them. So students will come in time, they will bring their assignments, they will read what you will ask them to read, and they will be very duty bound. That is a personal quality to be developed. Now, that will only be developed. I like Dr. Professor Sanjay Biyani's talk. He said, it is the teacher doing it. The students will learn only when the teacher will do it. The student will also do it. So, if the teacher is responsible, they will also be responsible. Then, providing happiness and righteousness. What is righteousness? Happiness is very common. You can provide happiness only when you show yourself happy in the class. If you come frowning, if you come with a dismal face in the class, the students will be scared. So you should be pleasing. I've seen my own teachers and differentiate between them. When I was very young, 15, 20 years, and the teachers in the class, they would bring a rod and put that and just on the table. And there were others who come smiling. So there is a difference between the two. These things look very small, but they are far-reaching effect. What is righteousness? Only the right thing is to be done, not any wrong thing. You have to provide them the material which will help them to grow, to develop certain qualities of education. So, at every moment there should be a selection of the right things for the students. For that, a teacher has to work very hard. What is to be read? What is to be discussed? He cannot say off the hand. He has to study, select, find out, choose, and give it to the student. Now, these are some of the personal qualities which I consider very important. But there are other professional qualities which are 10, which I consider. I have already said about the punctuality. Punctuality is absolutely important. The teacher is punctual, the students will be punctual. I remember one incident. When I was working in Africa, one of my colleagues, I had to visit him in the evening. And when I went to his place, he was eating his dinner. I had something to do with him. So I told him, I'll come some other time because you are taking your dinner. He said, no, please come down, come and sit down. So I went in, talked to him, came out. After 10, 15 days, again, I had to do something with him, so went to him. He was eating at that time also. And I told him, his name was Gary, Mr. K, whenever I come to you, I see you eating. Then he told me, you come to me at 8 o'clock, which is my dinner time. So even if the dinner time is fixed, why not other things should be fixed like that? So, punctuality, preparedness. What I feel that many teachers are not ready, not prepared for the lesson. If you have to teach in the class, don't think that you have already done it. Every time when you revise it, you will be preparing for teaching before the class. So, although these things look, oh, we know all those things, but we don't do them. If we do them, it will enhance the quality of education. That constant presence of mind a teacher has to cultivate among his students, the presence of mind. If you ask questions, they are there. Not they are absent-minded, they are thinking of something else. So you have to create some kind of environment I remember another incident at this time when I went to US to visit the Willamette University. I witnessed a teacher teaching a history lesson. Now it was about the Second World War. The teacher had collected all the information through the newspapers relating the Second World War and displayed them. Now you can feel the difference between displaying things and just talking. What I found, the students were so much interested in that lesson that at the end of the class, they did ask several questions. And the display was so excellent that it was self-defining. So a teacher has to do all that preparedness, presence of mind, connectivity. It happens very often when we are talking, we go astray. We go in a different direction. So we have to be constantly vigilant. The direction is the same. And we are continuing on the same frame of work on which we have been working. Then responsibility to respond and cooperate. Now, unless the teacher is responsible, he cannot make the students responsible. Now, how that responsibility will be developed? The teacher is regularly checking the assignment, giving assignment, trying to help the students difficulty remove, asking students, every student, that where is the difficulty, also expressing things which he thinks they are difficult for them. Now for that, the teacher has to think, has to go inside and to find out what are the real difficulties, what could be the real difficulties. Only then the responsibility part will be over. Then total attention and involvement. It is a very difficult thing, though it looks very small. I'm pretty sure that many of you, the students sitting behind, they must be thinking something else. Now, when the work is going on, it is absolutely necessary the students' attention has to be cultivated. Now, one simple thing about it, and involvement, their involvement is very necessary. Now, whenever things are going on in the class, whenever things are narrated, described to them, it is necessary that the students take notes. Now, it looks very simple, but it is a quality which has to be developed for the professional growth of the students. Then, when it is done totally, then responsibility to complete the assignment. If the assignment is given, the students must feel responsible to complete it. Now, these things look just casual, but they are not casual. If you practice those things, the students will surely grow, develop the qualities in them. Then, finally, concentrate on eliminating the mistakes discovered. If mistakes are shown, the teacher indicates mistakes, then those mistakes must be concentrated, must be removed. Second time, a mistake should not be repeated. That is the way to improve the quality. These are two areas which I consider very important for the personal quality as well as for the skill to be developed in the field of education. But what the teachers actually should do to develop those two qualities, I have found out a few more things for them. It is again the punctuality in the class, which will enhance the respect of the same person. I have another example. When I was teaching in Africa, I found somebody going 2 minutes before the class. The bell goes, he would reach there 2 minutes before. So once I asked him, I also go on time. What do you do by going 2 minutes before the time? Now the gentleman told me that when I go before the time, I clean the board, I put my teaching aids, I straighten the furniture of the class if it is disturbed, and see every kind of comfort is there for the students. So 2 minutes is there and not much time in the attendance. Our teachers take 15 minutes in taking attendance. Why? Why the time is to be wasted. So if something is to be told to them, they are to be told, not that the time consuming things are to be done. Now, a teacher has to be aware of the hard working qualities of the student. It is difficult. It will only be done when the teacher is in contact with the students. I don't think teachers try to come in contact with the students because they have no time. And unfortunately, the periods are only 30 to 40 minutes here. In Western countries, a teaching period is never less than 1 hour, and at times it is for 2 hours. And here it is only 30 minutes, 45 minutes. 4, 5, 6 minutes in attendance and coming late, and only 30 minutes. And if the teacher is not prepared, he will just gossip in the beginning to pass the time. So, no more killing of time. One has to be very punctual, very regular, very responsible, and should know who are the hard-working students. The teacher has also to know whether the students are cooperative or not. If they are not, he should inspire them to be cooperative. Now, these things look very small, but they have far-reaching effect. Again, must use teaching aids. I've already told you one example of the history lesson of Second World War. But teaching aids create environment in the classroom. Some kind of teaching aid. Even blackboard is there. Many of us are not able to use the blackboard. Not because they cannot use it, but because they don't like it. I remember once when I was a professor at Vidya Bhawan, one of my students was teaching small classes, small students, the initial things of English. He tried very hard, but the students were not learning. Then, after he finished lesson, he told me, "Sir, in Hindi, ये मूर्ख है, समझते नहीं." And I said, "Okay, you wait for some time, let me try also." So, with the help of small sketches on the blackboard, I tried to develop a small story before them. Slowly and slowly, I taught for 30 minutes, and I found the students were cooperating, but involving themselves. So teaching aids are very important. Either you use computer when it is a higher class, or blackboard, or any other teaching aid. As I have given you the example of the teacher teaching in US, that second lesson of Second World War. Questions are very, very important, and few minutes are to be given to the students to think over what has been taught. Now questions, after questions there should be a session of 2-3 minutes of silence to think, to make them think, and to ask you any questions if the questions are there. So some of these things, they help grow education. The teacher must check the assignment and he has to be very, very attentive. I give another example of checking the assignment. I used to check the assignments of my students and distribute them. It was a B.Ed class, and distribute that assignment on the second day to them and would ask them, can you look at my corrections, and if you have any difficulty, please ask me. One day it happened so that in a second year B.Ed class, one student got up and he said, sir, I don't agree with your corrections. मेरा अपना anchor, मैंने कहा, okay, bring your answer book. He brought the answer book and I found another 2 mistakes. And then asked him, what do you say now? He told me, I still don't agree with you. I was alarmed, I was really shocked. Then I looked at my comment. My comment was very derogatory. I wrote on it, poor English. It was hurting. I cut it off and wrote instead, please improve your English. And he was really happy. So the comment should be very pleasing, not derogatory, not hurting. Now, comment will be given only when the teacher will read all that assignment. What I have seen, they just tick mark and say good or bad or sign it. But there should be some comment. I got some training in the teaching of English. The lady came from England and we would teach one lesson, 3 persons, 10 minutes each. The lady would sit all the time. I think her name was Mrs. Bradford. She was sitting all the time, and after we finished, she would comment on each part of us. Now that comment was not a criticism, but it was a way to help us improve our language. So the assignment should be checked by the students, by the teachers, and the students should also see what has been done by the teacher. The teacher also should try to confirm whether the students have seen their corrections and they would not repeat it again. So these are some of the small things which look small, but they have far-reaching effect. And if the quality of education has to be cultivated, all these things are to be done. Now finally, I read somewhere and I brought a small plate that contained the teachers are the greatest gift from the God. If that is the case, if teachers are the gift from God, then why do we not behave like good teachers? To help them to grow in the personal qualities and professional skills. Personal qualities will be displayed, they will develop only when the teachers, when they go to the class, they display love for them, they display responsibility, they display punctuality, and several other things. And the professional qualities, they will contain only if the teacher knows how to display his material before them, how to ignite some kind of desire in them to learn it. So with these two things, if they are combined together, the education will surely going to grow. So if teachers are the greatest gift from God. Teachers have to behave like that. Long back I read one sentence which has a very far-reaching effect on me. If you want to improve the quality of life, it is imperative, it is necessary that you have to be honest with yourself every time, every moment. When the teacher goes to the class to teach their students, he has to be very honest regarding giving his material. I am not giving any data of that, and no data can be given on this. But the teacher's personal feeling, whether he or she has done the work or not, will display, will tell him the right thing. So, if you want to be just, you have to be very sincere within yourself. Your inside will know that whether you have done something or you have not given anything. Finally, in my own book, I wrote on Buddha a book, The Path of Dharma. In that I quoted from Buddha on Dhamma. It is an excellent line which people should remember. It said, drop by drop, the which what